Hello and welcome to Fergie's Gun podcast on October 26th, I think it is. It is, just check my watch. I'm joined today, as always, by my good friend Ahmad.
Hi Nathan, how are you?
I'm very good, thank you. And before we start the podcast proper, I'm going to drop a little surprise for you, Ahmad. Little surprise that you had no idea about. Can you tell the listeners what I'm holding up in front of the camera?
You finally got the...
Oh, don't tell them what's in it. Just say what it is.
All right, so it's a black box.
Black box. Not from an aeroplane that has been, carrying distress signals, but it is black box that I picked up yesterday. And I'm going to do a live unboxing of what this is, and it is relevant to the podcast. But the one thing that I was going to say is I ordered this back in July.
Yeah.
4 months. 4 months it has taken to get here. So finally going to be able to open it. And this was the reasons why I'll explain in a second why it's taken so long to get it. But they were kind of typical of the place that I got it from, about the chaos that is there. Anyway, here we go. Right, now you can read what's on the box.
Yeah, the premium membership. Finally. United premium membership.
Yeah. Not just any old premium membership, but the one from Manchester United. Again, ordered it in July, I think it was. And every time I went to check the tracking code to find out where it was, it had been returned back to the depot in Manchester or wherever it is that they put these things together. And I spoke to 3 different people at United's customer service to try and get this sorted out, and none of them seemed to know how to send a package to Dubai. But it has arrived after many conversations with Manchester United and their staff there, their customer service. So I'm going to tell you what's inside it, if I can ever get the box open. I will say this box, having worked in an industry where boxes like this are constructed, is a high quality box, and I reckon that probably costs about $10, $5 to make. It's a nice matte finish, which is expensive. First thing, definitely going to need this here.
Yeah, for sure. Every day.
A bobble hat. Just what I needed. I've
Actually,
also got...
cool, though.
It's all right. It fits over the headphones. I'm probably not going to wear it for too much longer on this podcast, but it's I'll wear it for now. It's a grey bobble hat with a black logo on it. I've also got one of these.
What is it? A coaster?
Yeah, it's a metal Manchester United coaster which has some heft. Listen.
Nice.
Serious heft. So I'll throw my other coaster out on my desk and replace it with this. I've got a pen, which has some weird markings on it. Looks like it's been used before. It definitely looks like it's been used before. This is like when we used to get those loan signings, like Weghorst. Jeez. Well, slightly disappointing. And then the last thing is a bottle. A bottle, again, decent quality. One thing that you may have noticed from all of this, what's the one thing that you've noticed from all of this Manchester United merchandise that I've just shown you? What's the common thing that's missing from all of it?
The red color.
Yes. Very observant of you, sir. None of it is red. Not one drop of red on it. But finally, I've got it. Was it worth the wait?
Was it?
I don't know. Maybe. Maybe. I tell you what isn't worth the wait. Talking about Brentford and Fenerbahce. That's not worth the wait. So let's get straight into it. How do you think the last couple of games have gone? Because in one way, you could say that we've won 1 in 6, I think. No, 2 in 6. But you could also say we're unbeaten in 6 as well.
No, I actually think it's 1-6. Well, we
Southampton?
haven't. Are you counting Southampton? Okay.
I think
Yeah.
everyone's counted. I think we have to. I think we have to count Southampton. But how you feeling? We can quickly gloss over the Brentford result, which I thought was good. I thought the performance in the second half was definitely good. I think everything has been said that needs to be said from other podcasts about the De Ligt decision, which was absolutely stupid, to send him off, or to tell him to go off and get his blood sorted out. And I think the goals that we did score were very good, but it was still fairly unconvincing. Brentford looked dreadful, by the way, awful.
I think we were expecting more from Brentford. I think we defended well, though. I must say, regarding regarding them sending the to get treated. I think I don't blame the referees, to be honest. I just blame the medical staff, because he went off like 3 times and they couldn't stop the blood. So yeah, the rules are the rules, I guess. But De Ligt was good. He was part of the reason why we actually defended that well. I don't feel Brentford troubled United at any point in the game. The goal they scored was off a set piece, and we were down to 10 men. But yeah, like it was, the first half was very bad, I must say. But the second half we looked way better. We looked like we're playing. We have some patterns going. Rashford on the right was really good. Garnacho on the left was really good. Højlund was really good. I think we looked all right. Like I was starting to have a little optimism, I guess.
I think you're right. Rashford was probably my man of the match for that game, not just because of what he was that amazing ball that he put in for Garnacho, and not just because he did look a constant threat down the flanks, but he was tracking back a lot. Like he was really putting in that effort, and it was almost like something clicked. And all of these, the past season, last year he was criticised a lot for not getting back into position, for not helping out, for not tracking back. But he was like a man possessed. He really did put shift in, and he did really well. So he's definitely my man of the match. There's one player who I feel like his form is taking a hit, and it's because he's playing out of position right now. And I noticed during the Fenerbahce, the 1-1 draw, which we'll come on to in a second, he was at fault again for a lack of positional awareness. Diogo Dalot is having a bad season, I would say, because when you look at the goals for Brentford, even discounting the fact that De Ligt had to go off, right? We had a throw-in on the halfway line. Dalot threw it straight to the opposition. I don't know what the hell he was thinking, but he threw it straight to the opposition. That's the type of stuff that kids won't do. They get taught that day one. Just don't give it away in a stupid position like that. So then the counter-attack happened. He was nowhere to be seen. Then they get the corner. De Ligt goes off. And if you watch the replay again, Dalot kind of just gives up on marking Pinnock, was it, that scored the goal?
Yeah.
He just gives up. And before the ball has even hit the back of the net, or immediately as the ball hits the back of the net, he's throwing his arms up like, come on, man.
Which he always does.
Yeah. And I keep hearing stories about him, about how he's a great influence at the club, and how he's really good. Someone was calling him Mini Ronaldo. Who was that? Someone on a podcast I was listening to the other day saying that they value him so much because he tells you when to rest, what to do when you're off time, and nutritional stuff and things like that, that takes you to the next level, like Cristiano does, So one of the players was saying that it's great having Dalot around. I can't remember who it was that said it. Might have been Højlund. But he looks barely like a football player at the moment.
I've always thought that, yeah. Like okay, last season he went on a good run of form, but even then, like I think he won the Player of the Year. It was, and he played like most of our games, if not all of them. But he always has this mistake in him. He always has this lapse in concentration. He does these silly mistakes that you just can't do at that level. That like even the smallest mistake, it can lead to a goal, and like it could change the whole game. And he always has this in him. And you would have thought that as he progressed in his career, as he grew older, he would like iron these mistakes out. But I don't know, it doesn't seem like it at all. I've never been convinced of him. I've always preferred Wan-Bissaka, to be honest. That's why I was actually a bit disappointed when he left.
I think with Dalot, he had a good season last season. Then look at where the team finished last season. They were collectively terrible. So it's almost like he's flattered to deceive this. And I don't like to hammer our own players because it's there's plenty of that on social media right now. But the problem with that I always see with Dalot is it's never just one mistake. It's always a few of them that like he does per game, and they always lead to a goal or a dangerous position with the opposition. And you can't do that. As you say, it's something that you need to grow out of. It's something that you need to eliminate from your game. And that just the basic throw-in, just do the right thing. Throw it to the feet of one of your teammates and then work it from there. And on a corner, set piece, I know Pinnock is like, he's a threat because he's big and he's strong and he plays at centre-back. So he's used to getting his head onto the ball. But you've got to be there. You've got to be there to try and do something about that. And he just throwing his hands up in the air. I don't like to see it, mate. I do not like to see it.
I think the issue with Dalot is also it represents the issue with the United as a team and as a squad. It's just like complete inconsistency all the time. Like they play one good game and they think that okay they've done it, and then they go back to their silly mistakes the next game. And this is you can point out Dalot, but I think it applies to 90% of the players we have on this month.
You're absolutely right. He's symptomatic of the malaise that goes through the team, where they've just decided that this average level of play is enough. And one of the things that always gets highlighted, especially the slow motions that they do on like beIN Sports or Sky Sports after like a great save from Onana or a goal line clearance, like they always show like them cheering and supporting each other. Now, again, if that was like Blackpool and they were playing City in the Cup and they were already 3-0 down, but they just had a goal line clearance, I could accept it. But Dalot providing that cheerleading, and Martinez as well does the same thing. It's like, I know I'm going to sound like Roy Keane here, but it's your job. It's literally your job. Get on with it.
I agree.
It's what you're supposed to do. Like it's like those people that clap on aeroplanes when the pilot lands.
Oh, I hate that.
That's his thing. It's what he's supposed to do. If he doesn't do that, then you're all in trouble. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's the basic thing, and it's like I'm not just pointing that finger at Dalot and saying that it's just him, but he's the first one to do that cheering. He's the first one to that's our level, that's our level there. Brilliant goal line clearance. There we go. 2-1 down, but there we go. It annoys me, and I've only seen the highlights of the Fenerbahce game, so you can fill me in on it in a second. From what I saw, again, he was out of position in the lead up to their goal. And I know against Brentford, it was kind of working because Rashford was dropping back and he was doing a really good shift to defend. Dalot kept finding that pocket of space going forward. He should have scored against Brentford, by the way. He found it. He kept finding pockets of space, and Onana kept picking him out with these quarterback-like passes, which was, it was working. but just the basics of a footballer in the position that you play, tracking back is crucial. Making blocks, making tackles, and sticking with your man. That's it. 5 fundamentals of being a defender. And a lot of the time, he only does 2 out of 5 of those.
Yeah.
But how did you, just as an overall, we'll get off Darrow now, but as an overall, what was how did you feel about the Fenerbahce game?
We started really well. We were playing well. We scored the goal. It was a really good goal. But again, same issues with the team. We don't kill off games when we can and when we should. So once you score the first goal, you have to go for the second. And we got the chances to do that, but we never seemed to score. And even if we did score like the 2-0 or 3-0, I still wouldn't have been comfortable because I know we can easily crumble again. So like I think the first 30 minutes we were good, and then Fenerbahce they grew into the game, and they actually, in my opinion, they dominated the game from minute 30 until minute 90, barring the few chances that we got every once in a while. I don't feel we attacked that well. Like our chances came from like counterattacks. Mazraoui and the 10. I literally have no words. I have no idea what's going on.
I was just about to ask you about that. About the formation in general looks like we were set up to defend. That's what I thought. When that's criminal. Against that type of side. I'm not like, no disrespect to Fenerbahce, but you go over there to try and get a result. You don't go to get another point. We've drawn every single game in the Europa League so far.
If we won the first 2 games, then I'd agree. Like, okay, a draw would be an acceptable result, but we haven't won yet. You have to go and win.
So you have to look at that formation, and when it came out, like obviously you follow accounts on like Twitter and social media, and the early reports about Mazraoui potentially playing at the number 10 role, which became the truth. You're looking at those things and going, what? How is this even happening? How is why? And then you get players coming out after the game. I think it was it Mourinho that said it, or maybe even Tadic for Fenerbahce. There was people that were talking about the fact that Mazraoui has played before at the 10 role, but that's not why we bought him. We didn't buy him.
Ten Hag who said that actually.
Yeah, but I'm sure there was someone else as well as Ten Hag that mentioned it. But maybe. Yeah, you might be right actually.
Wow.
And that's not why we bought him. We didn't buy him to play behind the strikers at number 10. And we've got players on the bench there that can play in that role. And I don't know. It's just the formation just seemed like we really just didn't want to get beat. And that's Ten Hag all over, at the moment. He just does not want to get beat at all.
It's actually like sickening. And now that you think of it, it's actually like it's getting to a point that it doesn't feel real anymore. We're playing fullback in the number 10. Like it's like, what's going on? I just don't know. Like I'm trying so hard not to like turn on Ten Hag, even after everything that's been going on, not just this season, even the past, even his first season. Like you always give him, like I say, the benefit of the doubt, but like he keeps on doing things that like it's like he wants to get sacked. It's like he does things that like it just doesn't help his case at all. Like what are you doing? Why are you putting a fullback in the number 10? Like and like why going to Fenerbahce for, like obviously you're not trying to go and win. Why? Like I think we're 21st on the table in the Europa League. Just as I don't know, just it's really frustrating. It's just I have no idea where we're going with this. I have zero idea where we're going with this.
Well, that seems like a good point for us to have a quick break, because we can talk more about that analysis after this short sting. So with Ten Hag's pragmatism on display again against Fenerbahce, some of the decisions that he made within that game, we've talked about the fact his formation was set up so it looked like it was to not lose. Fair. And we talked about the fact that Mazraoui was playing at number 10. What we haven't talked about is the August Player of the Month, Ahmad Diallo, being ostracised out of that squad to the point where we bring him on in the 87th minute, and he is a number 10, and he can play that position. Like, I would love to know what's happened, because he has fallen out of favour so quickly with Ten Hag, and even Anthony's ahead of him now. Oh well, he was until he got injured. But what do you make of that? Because Ahmad did not look happy when he was coming on.
Why should he be happy? Like, there's no reason for him to be happy, because the way he's being treated, not just this season, even last season, and the way he's being treated is just, it's odd. Doesn't make sense. If the team is actually playing well and other players deserve to be playing ahead of him, then I don't think he would have anything to complain about. But when the team is this bad, barely scoring, barely getting a win, and when he was playing, he was consistently one of our better players. Why would you just, I don't know, like, if something happened, but whatever happened, it has to be something big. It has to be something big that happened.
That's the only explanation. Like, I know that Sancho, it was a gradual thing of him just not performing in training, and then he was like called out on it, and then the rest is history. But with Ahmad, I know he's had problems before with United. I remember he took Manchester United off his profile, off his social media, and changed it to like Nike footballer or something like that. Really did the same when he fell out with Ferguson. It's just that it's a way to kind of stoke up a bit of media attention for you as a player and as the club in a negative manner as well. But to be dropped completely and to have another player who, in fact, I'll ask you the question: how did Mazraoui play? Because I'm assuming that he was dreadful in that position, but how did he actually play in the number 10 role?
To be fair to him, he wasn't bad, but he wasn't good. Like,
okay.
It was just he was just existing. He was just existing there.
So he had as much impact on the game as I did, just by being in bed.
Basically, yeah.
But Ahmad now is like, it is clear that something has happened and that he is not in favour at all. Like I said, he went from Player of the Month back in August because of his impact that he had, and he was getting the start over Garnacho, and Garnacho's found his way back into the team now. Got no complaints about that. Got no complaints about Rashford playing there either. But against Villa and I think against Brentford, Ahmad didn't play a single minute. Not a single minute. And there was opportunities for us to bring him on and freshen things up, and he didn't get on the pitch. And obviously we'll find out in due course, probably in January when we've sent him out on loan somewhere. But we'll find out what's going on. But it just seems so strange, and another one of those Ten Hag mysteries that just frustrates fans so much. Like, if it's not a formation change, then it's playing for a draw. If it's not playing for a draw, then it's playing people out of position. If it's not playing people out of position, it's not playing people at all. And I know this is what a manager has to do on a regular basis, but when it comes to the big decisions, he seems to be getting so many of them wrong right now.
He has been getting most of his big decisions wrong for the past month. I have no idea what's going on. Like, even like if he doesn't want to play him in the 10, at least bring him on at like minute 70 or something, because it was obvious he would actually be able to create something, and we were struggling to create anything in that game. And actually, once he came on, I don't know if you've seen, like, once he came on, and those 5 minutes, 6 minutes, he actually created two. I think he won 2 free kicks, and he was actually easily beating their left back easily. I think, in my opinion, he is our best right winger. I've thought that for a while. He's one of our most technical players, our most technically secure players that can actually keep the ball, and his decision making is that he does the right decisions 80% of the time, which I cannot say about most of our other players.
Really?
So I just don't see. Maybe his end product needs working on, but he's already scored and assisted this season, and our other players aren't actually doing anything. So like, it doesn't make sense to me.
There's clearly something, I know I keep sounding like a broken record, but there's clearly something that's gone on behind the scenes, because, you know, to be taken out completely, out the squad, well, not out of the squad, but just out of the starting 11, fine, I can accept that. If you're then placed on the bench, having had so much of a big impact, and you're not getting on the pitch, something's gone wrong. And you can't say that we've got players that are completely in form right now that couldn't step aside for him. And one of those players that I wanted to talk about right now is someone that started to get flack on social media from United fans, from rival fans. I mean, I completely don't care about what they talk about. But from even one of the newspapers was reporting on this, Joshua Zirkzee, saying that he's a failure and a fraud. And it just feels like everyone is kind of knee-jerked into it. I know he assisted Eriksen's goal against Fenerbahce, and I know that he didn't have a great game at all. But are we just being a bit too quick to write him off, or do you think that there is some truth in this? Because the papers are talking about him going back to Serie A, going to Juventus.
He's one of the players that I think we should be building around, in my opinion. He's one of those players. He has attributes that are so unique that I don't think he can find in many other players, especially not an RTM. I think the only thing going against him is the system that we're playing. Like, it just doesn't fit him. Because we've seen sometimes when he's played, when Højlund was injured, he was the reason we were playing well when we did. For example, against Crystal Palace, he was amazing that game. And I think he's been unlucky with some chances that he hasn't been converting the chances he's been getting. And I think this has been getting to him. So I think his confidence has been shot for the past few games. And he's actually not playing that much. He's not playing that much. Since Højlund has returned, he's not playing that much. Even when he's not playing that well, he's doing something, for example, assisting Eriksen against Fenerbahce. So I think it's way too early to be blaming him. And like I've said on previous podcasts, I would never blame any of the attackers that we have, because the system is just very dysfunctional. And I don't think any attacker can show what he actually can do in this team. And unfortunately, it goes back to the manager. So I would never, like, I wouldn't say I'd give up on him just yet.
Where would you play him then? Because you talked about the system, about like that he doesn't fit, and I agree. Like, there doesn't seem to be a natural place for him to play right now. What type of system would you prefer to see him in then?
Yeah, I think we've touched on this before. I mean, I think we said maybe we should try playing the like a 4-4-2 with two strikers, playing Højlund and Zirkzee. And I like him in the number 9, number 10, or like 9.5. I like him in that system. I think he brings a lot to the team when he does that, but he cannot do anything alone. So he needs players around him to be on form so that he can actually be playing well, and like people can actually see what he's actually doing. So again, like if you want to play Højlund and Zirkzee, either you play them together, or like I said before, I would actually play Højlund off the right, because we've seen like Rashford is playing on the right, but he keeps getting into those positions in the box, which I think Højlund can actually convert any chance that he gets from there, and Zirkzee can drop deeper. So there's a lot you can do, but it's tough experimenting these things when things aren't going your way as a team. So when you're not just getting results, you start playing a fullback and then the number 10 just not to lose, which is depressing.
There's two things as well with Zirkzee. I would love to see where his heat map, his average spot is on the pitch for his heat map, because every time I see him play, he's coming off the halfway line. Like he's tackling deep, or he's in his own half, which is great. That's a great trait to have as an attacker. And he's clearly been instructed to get back and fill in and help out with those things. But I don't think he has the legs to get forward as well. He's not a box-to-box midfielder, But I think, again, and this is the coach that needs to make this decision, he needs to be told that he just needs to stay in one position, occupy that position, and occupy that player. If that player comes past you, pass him on to someone else, because you're then going to be the outlet ball that can link up with a Højlund, with Garnacho, with Eriksen running on. Because right now, I feel like that you touched on it a second ago. Without a run of games, with the pressure that comes with it to perform, he's making decisions that aren't correct, and he's trying too hard. And I think part of the trying too hard is just trying to get the ball all the time. No matter where it is, he's coming back and he's trying to get it and he's trying to win it and he's trying to play from that position. And he's had a few heavy touches, but you can't turn on him yet. No chance.
I think the thing with Zirkzee is his game depends on these instinctive touches. Like we've seen that in the first few games that he's played, and we were also impressed. But when you start overthinking things and you start having this pressure on you, these instinctive touches, they go wrong more times than not. So I think that's part of the reason that he's actually, like, his form is dipping. But once the team gets into rhythm and he gets into the rhythm with the team, I think you will see. I have big hopes for him, to be honest.
Oh, actually, before we do the West Ham preview, I'd noticed some breaking news as we're recording this podcast. That Obi Martin, the lad that we signed from Arsenal, he starts for the under-18s today for the first time.
I just saw it. Oh, perfect.
So he's going to be. I'm sure they mentioned, maybe Fabrizio Romano mentioned that he was going to get, or was promised that he was going to get game time in the first team this season. So I mean, could be exciting. He's a big lad, even for his age. He's massive. And you look at those goals that he scored for Arsenal against Liverpool. Did he score 7, 10? Something crazy.
I have no idea.
He scored. And it was like a man versus like tiny children. He was just absolutely bossing them. I know it's a different gravy when you go into the full team at Manchester United, but it looks like he's got the qualities and the finishing skill to really be a handful if we do give him a start. The other bit of news that I saw, which is being reported in the Daily Mail, is that Manchester United asked Man City if Kobbie Mainoo and Alejandro Garnacho could jump on their plane to the Ballon d'Or Awards. Because...
Why?
Well, that bit we don't know. The speculation that United are so broke that they can't afford to send them, which would be ridiculous. But the other thing is, again, looking at it from a positive spin in terms of PR, you could say, they're just trying to save on their carbon footprint by sharing flight over there. But whatever way it is, whatever way you look at it, like, to ask if you can have two players on your private jet that's taking them to the Ballon d'Or just seems like you're broke. Like, you've got no money, which seems ridiculous.
I haven't seen that.
So it was just reported, but there we go. Anyway, West Ham away at the London Stadium this weekend. They've had a terrible start to the season. Not quite as as bad to put them in the relegation zone, but they're sitting in 15th for the moment. They made a lot of signings in the summer. They also got the Bayer Leverkusen chief scout. Was that chief scout, or he's basically like a Dan Ashworth. He's like a Dan Ashworth of Bayer Leverkusen. Brought all these great players in, and West Ham managed to get him. They did some decent business in the market. They got Todibo, obviously, who was supposed to go to Manchester United. They got that. Is it Nicholas Füllkrug from Borussia Dortmund? You know, they made some decent acquisitions, but they've had a torrid time this season, and they're sitting below Manchester United, which of course means they'll get an encouraging victory over us on Sunday, 3 p.m. But I don't know what to expect from this game, because I look at the Brentford game, the second half, and I think we're making progress. We can run the same team again, and we'll be fine. We should win it. But then I look at the Fenerbahce game, and I think, yeah, we're still fragile, and anything could happen, especially with like Mikel Antonio just running at our defence constantly.
Regarding West Ham, I think I've actually been disappointed this season, because when you see the players that they brought in the summer, I put them in like top 8 predicted. But I don't think Lopetegui has been finding a way to get things going there. But they still have these players that can actually hurt you. They have the players that can hurt you. But maybe we're fortunate that Kudus he got recorded last game versus Spurs.
Yeah, in the most ridiculous of ways. Yeah, he just he went head to head, or did he actually punch the other guy?
I think he punched like 3 guys. He like kicked someone. He slapped someone. I don't know. He's just
full rage.
Yeah, he was going off. I don't know how we had the chance to get Kudus or Anthony, and we chose Anthony. Until now, I have no idea. Yeah, and one of them cost half the price of the other. Whatever. But
well, your favourite Wan-Bissaka is now obviously plying his trade at West Ham, and I remember the first game that he had, and seeing West Ham fans on social media is going, I can't believe United let him go. Like, look at him. Now he's got the freedom to play how he wants. He's like the modern day Cafu. And now we've got the truth of it. He's very good in teams that are doing very good. But when you need him to do something else other than provide that last minute tackle, he's limited, which is why we ended up getting rid of him.
What? I don't know. Like I always thought that Wan-Bissaka has something that I just can't find in any other fullback in the world, to be honest. He was literally the best 1v1 defender that I think I've seen. Maybe I'm exaggerating, but like I wouldn't be surprised. Like, he's actually the best 1v1 defender that many people have seen. Okay, he lacks a bit going forward, but he was really good, and he was very useful in certain games that you actually just need the fullback to defend, because like we're seeing now, Dalot, he can defend, and when he goes forward, for example against Fenerbahce, I don't know if you've seen the chance, he had this, he just has to square it to Højlund, and it's a goal, and he just makes the wrong decision, and he can't even block the cross for their goal. So like, what's the point? If Wan-Bissaka was there, at least he'd do one of those things right. So but I wouldn't say like he's been bad for West Ham. I've watched him a few times. The whole team hasn't been playing well.
No, I don't think Wan-Bissaka's been bad. I think he's that player. That is his form. He will give you 7 out of 10,
exactly,
or more every single game. Like, he'll never give you anything less than that. Like, he rarely makes a massive mistake. Not as consistently as Dalot anyway, but I think in that team, in a West Ham team that have been dreadful, I just think you see where his limitations are. You see where his limitations are, But they're just going back over their last results. Obviously, they got spanked by Liverpool in the cup. That was 5-1. Had a player sent off. They got hammered by Chelsea as well, 3-0 at home as well that game. And then obviously they got beat by Spurs last weekend. But before that, they beat Ipswich 4-1. But I mean, there's our team, the squad that we have right now, the potential that we have within our squad, and just putting the right people in the right places. We should be winning this game.
We should be.
United should be going there with every intention of walking away with 3 points, because we cannot keep drawing games. We can't.
Yeah, it's gonna finish 1-1. Like I don't think we've ever done well there. I don't think we've won. Like the last game we've won there, I think it was the Lingard last minute goal.
Let me check.
2-1. Yeah, when De Gea saved the Mark Noble penalty. Remember that?
Yes. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. I'm trying to find the last results or the head-to-head.
Yeah, last season we lost 2-0, I think. The season before we lost.
You've got them there, have you?
No, I just remember them.
Your memory is better than mine.
No, because I can't forget like the De Gea Howlers when we lost. I think it was 1-0 or 2-0. The season before lost, and last season we lost 2-0. Kudus scored as well.
So we beat them at Old Trafford.
Yeah, we always beat them at Old Trafford.
So the last time when we played them in February, we won 3-0. Then yes, we lost 2-0 at London Stadium before that. 1-0 before that. Yeah, it's not a great stomping ground for Manchester United.
It's not, and it's not an easy stadium to go to. Yeah, they lost 3-0 to Chelsea there. I think that result is, because I watched the game, I don't think it was a 3-0 game. West Ham had a lot of chances. Chelsea were just clinical on the break. They had like 3-4 chances and they scored them. So the game could have gone either way, and I think Chelsea are way better than we are right now. So I wouldn't use that as an indication. So I would actually be surprised if we won. Let me just put it that way. I don't see us winning. I just don't see us winning. I think we could either win. We say that every game. We could either win 3-0 or we could like lose. I don't know what's going on this thing.
Exactly. It's win by a lot or lose by a lot, or draw in a tepid fashion, which seems to be another trait that we have. But so obviously we've spoken a lot about like West Ham, way that we've played against them previously. But how would you line up with everyone fit that you know about right now? Obviously not Anthony and whoever else is injured right now. Yoro, who would you play? Like, what formation would you play, and who would you be putting in those positions?
Defense, I'd go Onana, Delo, Delict. I'd go Evans if he's fit, and Martinez left back. Martinez has actually been doing really well at left back, to be honest. Brentford and Fenerbahce was really good.
Okay.
Midfield, I'd bring in Casemiro back because he was rested the last game.
Really?
Ugarte had his best game for United. We really should have touched on that as well because he was impressive. Yeah. I was really impressed with him.
I saw his goal on block. I saw that.
That was really good. And like for our goal,
I saw Dallo was there cheering. Yeah, when he got that last minute block as well.
The only thing he does well, cheering people. But I don't think Ugarte is gonna play this game, so I think it's gonna be Casemiro, Eriksen, Bruno. I think we missed Bruno actually last game. Like, even though we get frustrated with him when he's playing, but when he doesn't play, you actually feel, he's missing.
His touch last week against Brentford for Højlund's goal was just it typifies him. It's that improvisation to do something like that, but he might have tried to do a similar thing 4 or 5 times before with the crowd groaning at that. But the 5th time it comes off. And it just, even in the FA Cup against City, that pass to Mane, he can do those things. Yeah. And that's why he's so important to Man United. But yeah, continue. Who are you playing in the forward lines?
Yeah. The forward line is, so it's basically this. I just realized I'm just saying the same team against Brentford. It's exactly the same team. Yeah, I could have whistled like 5 minutes.
That's fine. Hang on, Evans? No, Evans didn't play against Brentford, did he?
No,
did he start? Yeah, he did. He did. Yeah.
So basically, Brentford. Hoyland, Rashford, are not.
Yeah. No, I think you're right, and I think while you're saying that as well, just going back to what we were talking about in terms of like Zirkzee and being able to find consistency, like there is no spot for him there apart from that centre forward role. And if you were to, because you mentioned before about playing Hoyland off the right, but then that means Garnacho or Rashford has to miss out for that to happen, unless you go really bold and you take Bruno out or Eriksen out and put Zirkzee or Rashford at the 10 role. But I think that's what we will start, and hopefully we'll get some consistency. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that we're going to win 2-0. I feel it. Yeah. Plus, I've been fairly negative about the results over the last 6-7 weeks or so. I just feel like this has to be one where we go there, the performance is there, and the result is there as well. What about you? What are you saying?
I'm gonna say 1-0 United.
There we go.
Just like, I don't know, it's just wishful thinking, I guess. But because I've been looking at the table. If we win, and there's this game between Liverpool, Arsenal, and like other games, we're actually not that far off. Like even though we've been so bad this season, if we win and maybe like Arsenal draw or lose, I think we'd be like 3 or 4 points off of them, which is crazy when you think of it. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to look at the Premier League table right now. So yes, we're in. Yeah, we're not top of the fold anymore. We're it's like when I have to scroll for my year of birth. It takes a while now. But we're in 12th and we're on 11 points. Arsenal are currently on 17. So yeah, if they lose against Liverpool and we win, we're 3 points behind them, which is, as you say, insane.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Anything can happen. I mean, Nottingham Forest are currently in 5th.
Yeah, they're flying. Yeah.
Did you put Chris Wood in your team, in your fantasy football?
Don't remind me. I put him in the team and then I was missing like 0.1, so I couldn't.
Oh no!
Yeah, I got Raul Jimenez. So let's see.
Okay, fair.
I want to ask you just like quickly. What do you think would happen? Like, do you think anything would happen if we actually lost or didn't win? Tomorrow with the manager.
I think because we kind of have this conversation on each podcast episode that we do. It's in different places. It's at the end, it's in the middle, it's after certain news bits, but it does always come back to what will happen after the game if we don't get a result. And I think that he's immune now. I don't think anything's going to happen until January, no matter what. I just don't think anything's going to happen. And I mean, you've just mentioned it, which takes us on to a good point about the news that was floating around the other day, saying that United delegates had been to Barcelona to speak to Xavi. Now, I don't know how you feel about Xavi, but for me, that isn't saying that we're going to be that we're getting a manager that's going to take us to another level. That says to me that we're getting a manager that's going to do a crab-like sidestep to basically what we've got right now. All that's going to happen is we're going to get that the new manager bounced for about 10 games before reverting to type, and it's like, oh, Xavi can't get a tune out of him either. Like, I don't see why he would be the person that would come in and change things. I don't see it. He couldn't handle it at Barcelona. He could not handle it at Barcelona. And Man United's even worse.
Yeah, but Barca, I think many people forget that he actually won the league with Barca. So he was there for 2 seasons or 2.5 seasons, and he won the league in one of them. Maybe people would say that, yeah, Barca only won it because Madrid weren't on their game. That's the only reason. But yeah, like I don't see it. I don't see it. Yeah, his style. I don't think his style would fit. He's a bit. He's like, you wouldn't have thought, but he's very pragmatic. Like, he prioritizes defense before attack, and that's why a lot of Barca fans were against him. So I don't think he's the solution to the team. I think if they wanted to take a decision, then it should be Ruud as interim, and just reassess in the summer. We'd have more options. Like, then this is where it gets like what we talked about before, that once they want to take the decision, it's gonna be too late. Because, for example, Tuchel was right there, and he would have actually been a good successor, in my opinion. Yeah, but now it's gone because they just kept on delaying the decision.
I mean, I'm still. I never wanted Tuchel in the first place, just because I didn't want that. Same thing that happens with Mourinho, where he has a good couple of seasons and then just blows up, and then that's it. He's on his way. He's going somewhere else. I think that I mentioned this on the podcast last episode, I think, where I said I think the England job's perfect for him because it's less. There's less commitment to it. Like, if he doesn't win the next tournament, then he can leave. England can part ways with him. It's not a 5-year contract at Old Trafford, for example. But just going back to the original question, do I think that there'll be any repercussions if he loses this game? I don't. I just think that the media will go crazy again, obviously, because they want to sell papers, they want to get clicks on their website. But I just can't see anything different changing. I can't see him getting fired on Monday morning, Tuesday. I just can't see it. I think they're going to give him until at least January, potentially the entire season, before they make any decisions. And let's be honest, if they're having to ask Man City if a couple of our players can jump on a flight to save a few quid, then they can't be sacking Ten Hag anytime soon.
Yeah.
Right then, there we have it. The end of another podcast from Fergie's Gum. So it just leaves us to say goodbye and to say thank you for listening as always. I think the listener count has started to go up. I think we're into the 20s now. The 20s Impressive. In terms of subscribers as well.
Nice.
Imagine that you might not think it's much, but imagine 20 people stood behind you right now listening to you.
No, I'm actually impressed.
It'd be scary, wouldn't it? You have 20 people just stood in your room listening to your every word.
I'll be a bit freaky, to be honest.
But yeah, onwards to the next milestone of 22, 23. Let's see. Well, thanks for listening as always, and we will speak to you again next week.